how do you find your niche? How do you get leads in your niche? What are you doing to be the expert in your niche right now? Where should people aspiring to be where you're at, where should they start?
I love bookkeeping.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for tuning in. Today, we're actually going to be kicking off our niche series, and we have a special treat for you guys. We're going to be interviewing Tyler Otto with Specialty Bookkeeping. Just a little bit about Tyler. Along with his wife, Karen, they are the owners of Specialty Bookkeeping, where he has developed a winning formula for an innovative, virtually based accounting and tax firm. His company leverages technology to simplify clients' financial processes, creating greater visibility into their financials and driving profit. He has extensive experience in the finance side of the hotel and tourism industry, where he has also served as the corporate director of finance with Imprint Hospitality in 2020. His primary focuses include database architecture, visual basic scripting, forecasting, budgeting, and data mining. His recent activities include doing large financial system migrations for several companies spanning the hospitality to the construction industry. Tyler has a passion for team development and promoting fun and collaborative cultures. He believes that a dedication to continuous improvement and learning is the backbone of any successful venture. He loves helping clients make more money. His career has been focused on serving as a financial analyst and business partner, helping business managers make strategic decisions that will grow their business for years to come. Tyler is a fanatic about making new relationships and collaborating with others on large projects. He lives in Salt Lake City, Utah with his wife, Karen, and 2 children. When he's not geeking out in Visual Basic, he's found in the woodshop doing any number of woodworking projects or on his road bike. Tyler, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is...
Everybody needs to take a note on that bio. That killer.
Is a killer. You have quite the resume. We're super impressed.
I'm not qualified enough to be
Well,
here.
I'm just thankful you were willing to read it because people won't even say nice things about me when they're printed in front of them. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, of course. It's so impressive. And I have so many questions for you. For those who are listening who don't know you, can go ahead and tell everybody your specialty niche?
Yeah, so we focus in the hospitality space. It's a little bit of a wide net, but ultimately we try to go after hotels. There's subsets under that because a lot of hotels have restaurants and spas and massage parlors. So we do a little bit of smaller restaurants and spas, but hotels, that's our jam. Those are our babies.
Gosh, that's incredible because you have to be so detail oriented to be in that industry, I feel like.
You do. Well, it really is several industries all in one.
Right.
As I said, we've got those other sub companies within it. That's all one intercompany. You can throw in a retail part as well. You gotta know your stuff in that space. Yeah.
Well, we just talked a little bit how you got started, but what really made you want to be a part of that industry and to select that as your niche when it came to your bookkeeping business?
Yeah. So, the quick 20-second recap, my wife was the one that actually started our bookkeeping firm while I was in corporate finance for the tourism industry, ski resorts and hotels. When we decided to take this bookkeeping firm full time, it's what do you know well that you can be the best at that no one else really has that experience and kind of leverage your background to make bookkeeping work for you. And we love hotels. We love the space. They're fun clients to serve. And so we really went hard after that space. And that's where we focus every advertising dollar.
That's awesome. So how long have you been in business?
So we just hit the 5-year mark in business, but I've been doing this full time for about 16 months.
Wow, that's awesome. So let me ask you this. We have students who are starting to take our program and they don't know if they want to niche or not to niche. We obviously have our opinions about this, but what made you really want to niche it, even though you've got this really wide net of hospitality? What made you actually want to have a subject that you focused on?
Yeah, I'll be honest. When we first took our business full time and it was no longer a side hustle for my wife, I was like, no, we'll take clients from anywhere. I know accounting. I've got this background. We'll do everything. And our client list definitely shows that we took on people in a lot of different industries. And I thought, I would be the exception to the rule of, yeah, we don't need to niche. Then you start adding team members. And all of a sudden, it becomes very important that not only do you have to know the accounting for all those different ones, but so does your team. And you have to make it translatable. And they have to understand all those exceptions to this is how nonprofits work, but this is how law firms work, but this is how retail. And you almost shoot yourself in the foot by building up that portfolio. So if anyone has plans to scale, yeah, you may think you can get by without niching until you get to that point where you're adding staff.
Oh, man. You have no idea how much I relate to that. So since Karen started it and you joined her a little bit later, are you guys still the husband and wife team now?
We are. We have 2 small boys, 5 and 2. So that definitely eats up a lot of time. And so, yes, the company has largely transitioned from her project to mine, and she does some administrative work. And then the rest of the team, the other 6, they kind of run the day-to-days.
How does she feel about that? Because we did that, but opposite, where Daniel started it and then I took over from there. How does she feel? Is she glad to be rid of it right now? Or?
Yeah, I think this phase of life, the thought of running her firm with the kids right now, it's definitely doable, but she wanted to focus more time on them. And so it's been a blessing to us because, just from the aspect of me being present, me being around, she's loved that she still has a hand in the business, but she can also be there for the kids a lot more.
Awesome. So she's your boss, though.
We are
right?
technically 51-49 owners, so it's a woman-owned business and it's hers. So she is the boss.
That's amazing.
That's the way it should be.
So if you don't mind me asking, how many clients do you currently have?
We're in the 20s. I should probably go count, but I don't know. We definitely focused on going after higher dollar value and less volume.
Yeah. And once you get to a certain level, that's such an important aspect of the business, is to really kind of narrow down the quality over the quantity, because ultimately I think if you have less of more quality clients, then you're making just as much, if not more money. But then at the same time, it's like you have more time for your family. You kind of have this better work-life balance, I feel like. And that's kind of a common theme that we see when we interview people. If you don't mind me asking, what's your annual revenue? What'd you guys do last year?
Last year, we were very much in ramp-up mode. So I honestly don't know the number. I can tell you our MRR right now is 32 a month, just in the bookkeeping side. And then, we have taxes and other stuff on the side. So, it's a little bit higher, but, what you can count on, it's 32.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when you decided to kind of narrow down on this niche, at what point in your business ownership journey did you, how long had you been in business or been doing this before you realized, okay, hey, this is too much for me. I need to kind of put an umbrella on it and cover the hospitality industry?
We were probably 6 months in when it was just me and my wife, and then we started adding other people. And the hotel clients were our favorite. We loved them. They were fun to work with. But B, as we were training up new staff, we knew we needed to do it. But the business was going for 3 years just as a side project. And I'll say my experience from the corporate finance world, we sometimes did outsourced accounting, and it was amazing how many of these very impressive firms of CPAs and these just financial managers didn't understand the hotel industry, and we were teaching them. And that's when I realized, I could leave the corporate world and we could really carve out a space for this. It wasn't, we could have done it sooner. I'm so happy we did. But that was about a year and a half ago. Plus, the pandemic and hotels made it an easy choice to get out of corporate finance for them.
So I have a couple of follow-up questions from that, Tyler. And I guess the first is, for those listening, we always, we're team niche over here. And obviously you're a great show of that. You're niching, doing, $32,000 in monthly recurring revenue in a niche. You're preaching, it's such a successful business, and you were a husband and wife team. I definitely what a lot of people are aspiring to. How do you find your niche? How do you get leads in your niche? What are you doing to be the expert in your niche right now? Where should people aspiring to be where you're at, where should they start?
Yeah, I mean, how many sales and marketing books do you read that, you need to understand where your target client lives, where they communicate, where they socialize, and get in front of them? And for me, I was lucky. I mean, the reason we chose hotels is because of my background. And so many people that just during my normal LinkedIn connections, they run hotels. And so the moment they heard that we were starting a firm specializing in them, they reached out. They would start connecting us with other owners. And that was a big help. But beyond that, we're putting a lot of our website development and marketing efforts just towards hotels. We're trying to start kicking off YouTube videos just with 5 minutes. Hey, here's quick tips and tricks and how that translates. And really just trying to make different ways for our clients to find us. Whether that's even reaching out to certain people we know that do podcasts and trying to get in front of them. You really do have to hustle just the relationship side and not going out to hustle trying to sell everybody, but just connect with everybody and understand them and learn about them, because people don't want to hear what you're selling. They want to tell people about what they're doing. So finding those people in your industry and just listening to their stories and connecting with them, in the long run, it ends up paying off.
That is such great advice. And that's something that we actually talk about a lot here and that's something that I preach to people, especially on the marketing side of things, is find out where your client goes and get in front of them. I think that's one of the great things about having a niche is that it kind of creates a space for you to really learn about who your client is and what they need, so that you can kind of in turn better serve them. Do you find that having a niche maybe gives you a little bit more originality in your business, kind of because you're more passionate about what you're doing?
Absolutely. And not only that, it allows us to speak their language, talk their talk, and it makes us seem more relatable. It makes us easier to connect with. And especially just, again, my experience, and this is why I say if you have a background that you can specialize in a niche, go after it. Because for me, like, I can relate to those general managers I talked to about, when the hotel's at 100% occupancy and housekeeping short-staffed, and it doesn't matter what position you're going and you're flipping beds, stripping them of sheets and helping turn them. Like, every exec within a hotel management company has had those moments where they have to go strip beds. It's the equivalent of that saying, you got to go clean toilets whenever it's done. Well, if you can talk the talk with them and sympathize with them and relate with them, it pays dividends. So when you go to these conferences or get in front of your ideal client, you relate very well.
Is that something that you guys have as part of your marketing plan, like in-person conferences or in-person networking?
Yes. So for sales, yes, we're trying to get out to conferences. Again, the last 2 years have been weird for everyone, so it hasn't been perfect, but really identifying those conferences that have our ideal client. Because again, within the hotel space, there's, 5-star hotels and there's 1-star hotels. We can't serve the 5-star and we don't want the 1-star. And so really finding those conferences that are targeted towards your ideal hotels, it's crucial.
Today's show is brought to you by Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. Keeper helps you get faster client responses with your own custom branded QuickBooks integrated client portal. Finally, you can say goodbye to those pesky spreadsheets full of uncategorized transactions. Keeper also helps you catch those embarrassing coding errors before your clients do. And with Keeper, you can generate beautiful custom reports that your clients will absolutely love to read. To find out more, go to keeper.app. That's keeper.app. Mention I Love Bookkeeping to get 20% off your first 3 months. Again, go to keeper.app to find out more. Thank you for listening.
Was also going to say, since we did talk briefly about scaling and how you found that scaling really had you doubling down on, I definitely need to niche. I did want to call out that in your email signature that you have Specialty Bookkeepers is a flexible schedule employer. And although I have set this at a time that is convenient for me, it is not my expectation that you read, respond, or follow up on this email outside your hours of work. Dude, everyone knows that I'm loving the work-life balance. And I also love, creative email signatures, but also things that show people what it's like to work with me. So can you tell me, I guess, a little bit more about your company culture as well? And, what you mean by that you are a flexible schedule employer?
So my staff, almost everyone on it is part-time. And one of the biggest benefits we offer is people looking for that flexibility to still take their daughter to dance every single day, to drop their kid off at school, to be able to do doctor's appointments and go run errands. And so with them working 5 hours a day in the middle of the day, which there was another hard lesson for me to learn, is you can't tell people they can work any hours, because then when they have questions at 9 at night or 5 a.m., they reach out to you and you end up working 24/7. That being said, my team, they're on between their local 9 to 5, but they can fit in their personal life. They can fit in random things. And I find that a lot of the people we've hired, like, yes, they want a good salary, but they're most appreciative for that flexibility. And so to your point, the email signature, I want to set the precedent very early with my clients that my staff have that flexibility, and that is part of who you're working with. And that signature isn't as much to tell my clients something about like how it is to work with us, as more it is signaling to my employees that I'm doubling down on this benefit for you, because I believe if I take care of my staff, they take care of my clients. And that's all I've seen as we continue to grow. So that email signature and that culture, yeah, I protect my staff, and this is one key way of me signaling that to my clients.
I love to hear about the different ways that when we interview people, I like hearing about all the different ways that people scale their businesses and grow. But I also like to kind of ask questions on the flip side. What's been kind of maybe a pain point for you in this niche and kind of growing your business? Has there been something that you've kind of had to learn the hard way, or that you feel like a lot of people can relate to that's kind of a pain point?
Scaling, it's another beast, because if you go with the E-Myth, right, you're going from the technician to the manager, or I'm probably butchering the terms. But yeah, day one, the ins and outs of every client. You are intimate with every set of books. And then going from that to that space of now your team's going to do it. But you got to set your team up for success, but you can't be micromanaging, but you've still got to maintain that quality control. And finding that sweet spot, it is super easy to fumble the handoff. As you continue to get out of that initial phase of you doing everything to empowering your team and trusting them to do it. And sometimes you actually see they're even going to fail, and you got to let them fail and learn from getting burned, but not enough that it's going to affect the client. It's a weird dynamic, but mastering that handoff, if someone's got a whole series on how to do that, not just BBL, but like how to get it right. I know you do, Melissa, but still in practice, it is one of the most difficult things to get right. And I don't know, maybe you disagree.
No, it is. And it's actually what I'm speaking about at BKX.
So perfect.
Basically how to delegate, develop, and then grow your bookkeeping firm. Because that's what I found over the years is, I've always preached delegating, but how do you effectively delegate? But not just that, is once you do delegate, how do you develop your team? Because you can't just hand things off without developing them afterwards to make sure that they're set up for success. So I'm definitely with you on that, Tyler.
Mental brainwaves there. They're a good segue.
Not to plug myself or BKX further in this, but I think it's really important. And I like to hear that other business owners experience that as well. Not that I want you guys to have to go through those troubles. I wish I could save everybody from that. But it just shows to everybody that it's a relatable issue that we all have to face as we scale.
Well, and I assume, Melissa, with your guys' size, you went through so many different phases of having to be a different employee within the business and having to change your role probably yearly, if not quarterly.
Yeah, probably quarterly. Yes, at this point, I have filled every single role in the company, but outside of tax preparation, mostly because I don't want to go to jail.
That's important.
That's important.
So Tyler, let me ask you this. How have you found most of your clients? Has there been like a specific outlet where you find that you gain the most clients from, or that you kind of gain the most optimal leads from?
This is the one aspect I'm not proud of. And it's because I want a business that isn't dependent on me. And my resume, my history, my connections is really what has driven most of our hotel growth. And I would love it to be to a point where most of our website, Google Ads, Facebook is driving that. Now, we're still very junior in that space, and working with Ben's programs, we're just getting a lot kicked up and running. So I wouldn't say it's also had its due diligence, its proper day to show how well we are doing in that space, but that's where we want to grow to. So currently it's been a lot of referrals and a lot of people in my past that have come out of the woodwork recommending us when they know of other hotel owners that are looking to outsource.
But I like hearing that, because I think, when I circle back to what you said earlier about not selling your product, but making connections, I think that's like what you just said is a great example of how making connections can benefit you, because it sounds like a lot of your clients have come from networking and connecting. Since you're trying to kind of change the dynamic of your marketing, what are some things you're doing right now that kind of pertain to your niche to change your marketing? So
right now, and this is a straight out of the page of Ben Day, talk with him regularly, right? We're all a good community here, and you're getting good ideas from other people. So let others pave the way, and then you take their advice. But it is developing just content to get up on YouTube for quick search results on, how do they do cash reconciliations for the front desk of a hotel, or how does, the guest ledger and the city ledger work within the hotel accounting system? Like coming up with key things that we can put out there. That's one of the ones we're doing. And then really building out our sales funnel is another one. And to your point, you were saying about how developing those relationships is awesome. I think that's totally crucial, and everyone needs to be doing it. But at some point, you want the business to be able to grow without your personality having to be the center of it. And I think that's where my eagerness then to develop and grow and get out of that phase. Because you don't want your team to be just dependent on you. I don't know, it becomes an egocentric business.
I completely agree. And I really like hearing your perspective on that, because something that I really enjoy about the kind of the bookkeeping community / the bookkeepers.com community is that there's really not a lot of gatekeeping. People are happy to share their information and the tricks of the trade, I guess you could say. And I think that's really cool that, you can talk about, I talked to Ben Day about this and I'm trying something that he did. And I think it's really cool, because that's something that I've noticed, and I've worked in different industries before, and I'm actually not a bookkeeper myself, but seeing this industry and seeing how kind of positive and open it is, I think it's something that's kind of unique, I guess, as far as being in a certain industry go. Do you find, I guess my follow-up question to that is, do you find that to be true? Like, do you feel like you learn a lot from your fellow bookkeepers?
Absolutely. I'll be honest. I showed up to BKX last year because I didn't go through as much of the BBL program. I did the sales and marketing side, some of the ancillaries. My wife's the one that went through and did the whole BBL program. So I showed up to BKX thinking, oh man, all these competitors in the room, like how do I get a leg up on them? And then soon enough, get more and more involved in this community. And now, I'm occasionally on calls with Jeremy over at Nonprofit Bookkeeping, talking about how, we implement certain systems. Or David Irving and I were talking earlier this week from Latitude Books about how he manages his knowledge source. And we're sharing templates, we're sharing tools, best practices, because we are niching down, so we don't want to get into each other's lane. And so it almost becomes like we don't feel like we're threats to each other. Instead, we can all make each other stronger. And again, we all become more credible as our businesses can better serve our clients and then refer out the ones that aren't in our niche to our counterparts.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Warms my heart.
To also circle back, I will say I love your idea of doing these videos, because we're actually in the process of relaunching our YouTube. And we're doing 1 to 3 and 3 to 5 minute how-to videos directly targeted towards our niche. And the reason we're just redoing them, obviously, is to just kind of boost up the channel, increase the amount of content, to get it back up there. But I will say that we started that in 2016, and I still get leads off of those YouTube videos. And so I want everybody to hear what you're doing, and I don't want to pass up on that because it is such a great marketing strategy, because all you have to do is preload that content and it will fuel your marketing for literally years. What specifically are you covering in those topics, and how are you standing out from other just random YouTube videos?
So, and again, this is all theoretical at this point because, this conversation was Ben recently, so we're developing the videos right now. We haven't posted them, so I don't know the success. But the things that have been helpful that we've gotten content in front of our clients that they're just raving about more on just one-on-one trainings is really how they manage their point of sale system and the impacts on the financials. And in the hotel space, they've got these things called the guest ledger and city ledger, which are glorified bar tabs, right? A guest is staying with you and they're racking up charges, and you've got to recognize revenue on the day it's earned, but then they may not settle out their bill for a while, and thinking you've got hundreds and hundreds of guests at a moment. How do you manage that? Training these clients the impacts and cash flow and how it impacts how they can run their business. Those are the key things we want to focus in on. And so we've started developing content around and getting them up.
That's fantastic. And not to steal this from Hannah, but I guess to wrap up this episode, because I just noticed what time it is. If you had one piece of advice or one tip for new bookkeeping business owners, what would your one piece of advice be?
Everything about this is the relationship. So focus on key relationships with your team and with your clients, because at the end of the day, if you can have healthy relationships on both fronts, good clients will take care of your employees, good employees that you invest in will take care of your clients, and then just continue to follow that formula, because you're either going to hate life if you get a bunch of crappy clients, or you don't take care of your team when they leave you and drop everything in your lap. So yeah, take care of those relationships.
That's great advice. Tyler, we have so enjoyed you being on the show today. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with all of our listeners. I know everyone's really going to get a lot of information from this episode. So thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Well, will we see you at BKX?
Absolutely.
Amazing. We cannot wait, and we really look forward to seeing you. We have so enjoyed talking to Tyler today about your niche and your bookkeeping business. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns for us or for Tyler, please shoot us an email at success@ilovebookkeeping.com. That is success@ilovebookkeeping.com. Also, wherever you're listening from, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. My name's Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for tuning in to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to change your life, you want to grow that biz, it's not as hard as it looks. Be a money guide, a profit coach, step up your game.